This weekend project starts with these old styrofoam coolers. I'm going to take off the lid to the styrofoam cooler and set it aside, and then I'm going to grab some cement patcher. This is great. Take the lid off. There's actually a lot in there, so I need to dump some of it out. I'm going to dump it out into the styrofoam lid. I will need all of it, but I need a little bit inside so I can mix it real easy. I'm going to put in some nice cool water, use a trowel, and I'm going to start spinning it around and get it all mixed up. I did put a little bit too much water, but that's okay. I could just always trowel some more of that cement in. Once I get it all mixed up, I want it to be like a Play-Doh kind of consistency. I'm going to start with the bottom of the styrofoam cooler. I'm going to put enough in for about an inch deep. What this does gives me a good base and makes it heavier on the bottom so that it doesn't want to tip over. Next, I'm going to move to the edge. I want to again take it like Play-Doh and start putting it around the edge. It's okay if it falls. If it falls onto the cardboard that you have protecting it on the bottom, that's okay. Grab it and put it back on top. I'm going to work all the way around the edge. Now, this is the hardest part, so don't worry. Once you get this done and let it dry for about 20 to 30 minutes, then it's time to move on to the sides. And then you're going to start putting it on just like this. Now, see how much easier that goes on than the lid and on the sides? So put this all on, let it dry 20 to 30 minutes. It sets up really fast. Next, once it dries for 24 hours, I'm going to give this some spray paint and a nice white base all the way around. But we want to make it look like some stone. So I'm going to go with some gray next and some black. And as you see with the other colors, I'm just sporadically going all over. Then I'm going to hit it with black, again, some gray. This is a cream color. And then watch this, some terracotta. If you put too much on, you can always dab some more white on it. Let this spray paint dry. It's going to look great. But then we got to protect those colors that we put on. So I'm going to go with the clear matte. It's going to protect it, make it waterproof so it can go outside. I'm going to spray this all on, get a couple of coats on there. It's going to look really good. Make sure it dries between coats, but also give it 24 hours on the final coat to dry. Once that's drying, I'm going to get this solar fountain out. It looks really awesome. It works great in the sun. Pull off the protective cover. And then what I'm going to do is put the nozzle on. And this has many different nozzles that come with it. Then I'm going to go put the cooler in place. Look at that, right where it gets some sun. I'm going to fill it with some water all the way just a couple of inches from the top. And then what I'm going to do is put the solar fountain in. And once that sunlight hits it, look at this. It just starts spraying everywhere. No batteries, no cords, anything like that, and it sprays all over, and it looks really great. I love how we did this to upcycle these old styrofoam coolers.
I took a couple of pots and played with how I could get them to fit together. I would put one pot inside of a larger one and then add the bottom tray and then put another pot on top. Once I determined which my top pot would be, I needed to work on sealing up the drain holes. I used a hot glue gun to seal up the holes at the bottom, but then I was worried that maybe that wasn't going to hold over time, so I ended up taking a layer of Flex Seal and spraying it on the inside as well. I checked to make sure that my pot was watertight, and then I was ready to go. I set everything outside and started to build my fountain. I filled it up with water, and then I decided to add some decorative elements to the outside of my pots. Since I wanted the fountain to work by itself outside and I didn't want to worry about changing batteries, I purchased a solar-powered fountain. I was able to just drop this in place and it started working right away. I wanted to decorate it to go with my fall decor, and so I used some leaves and a few other things just to kind of cover up any rough spots on the pot and to make it look decorative and festive and perfect for my holiday decor. And here's how it looks once I integrated it into my fall decor. You can really decorate this for anything. I think I might do a similar project at Christmas time and use some of that spray Christmas snow kind of stuff to cover the pots and then adorn it on the outside as well. You can really let your imagination run wild.
You are going to run for the plant pot shelves when you see how enchanting this idea turned out. I'm stuffing some paper inside a medium pot to catch any potential drips. A tube of waterproof silicone is being inserted into a gun. I'm applying silicone to the bottom of the plant pot along all the holes. I'm spreading the silicone with a small knife to ensure the entire surface is covered. The bottom tray is being siliconed, then pressed back onto the bottom of the pot until it clicks into place. The silicone is also being applied to any inside holes. I'm applying hot glue to the bottoms of both the small and medium pots, then holding them together until the glue sets. Container garden soil is being added to the lower pot. Flowers are being planted into the soil. Any gaps are getting a little more soil filler. I'm giving the top pot a quick rinse to ensure it's completely free of soil, then tipping it ever so slightly to drain the water. The empty top bucket is getting filled up with water. I'm opening up a solar water fountain, which will be the key element to this feature. I'm attaching included extenders to a solar water fountain, which will help keep the water fountain centered. The fountain extenders are being cut to fit the water-filled flower pot. Then once set inside the water, the sunshine instantly activates the water fountain, creating the easiest water feature for any outdoor sitting area or garden space. There is nothing quite like the sound of trickling water while enjoying your outdoor space.
Pick up a large and small flower pot to create this beautiful outdoor display. I'm starting with a really large pot, and I'm going to stack some smaller flower pots up in the center. I want to be able to set the smaller pot on top of these. Once I have the right height, now I can start adding some potting soil. In that soil, I'm going to plant some really colorful annuals. Now I'm going to take this white ceramic pot. I want to make sure that the hole is sealed in the middle. I'm just going to set this right on top of those pots that I stacked on the inside. And I'm going to fill it with water. Now I'm going to add this solar fountain that I found on Amazon. As soon as the sun hits this, the water is going to start bubbling up. The brighter the sun is, the higher this water is going to spray.
I grabbed 2 flower pots of different sizes from Dollar Tree to make this fabulous patio feature. I used 150 grit sandpaper to lightly scuff up the surface, then I wiped it clean to prep for painting. Then I applied silicone to a plastic lid and attached it to the bottom of the smaller pot. I siliconed all the way around the lid edge to create a waterproof seal. While it was drying, I grabbed some Rust-Oleum stone textured spray paint. I spray painted the outside of both pots and around the inside edge and let it dry overnight. I noticed some bare spots, so I applied a second coat. After the spray paint dried, I mixed ready-mix concrete in a separate bucket, following the directions on the bag. I carefully placed the wet concrete in the larger bucket. I placed a large rock in the middle to help take up space. The concrete filled the bucket about 1/3 full. It gets heavy quickly, so I did not want it to be any more full. I used a scrap piece of 2x4 to tamper down the concrete and gently jiggled the container to get rid of any bubbles and smooth it all out. After the concrete dried, I placed a plastic container in the middle so the smaller pot would sit higher up. I grabbed some garden bed pots from the recycling and used them to fill out the space without adding extra weight. Next, I placed the smaller pot on top and added river rock to cover the recycling. I washed another handful of river rocks, placed them inside the small pot, and filled it with water. Lastly, I added this solar fountain, and it was a sunny day, so it started working immediately. No batteries required. I hope this inspired you to create your own DIY fountain and patio of your dreams.